Namaskar, welcome back. There's a very true saying that we teach what we need to learn, and this video is about something that I would really like to learn very well because I think it would be so useful. In the last video, we had a much longer discourse called it was taken from Ananda Vacanamrtam, part 7. You Are Not Helpless was the title of it. And it had so many nice points in it that I really thought it would be good to make a couple of shorter videos that went into a bit more depth on each of the points. So this is the first one, and it is a topic, an idea, or a practice which our Guru Sri Sri Ananda Murti talked about many times, and which I have also mentioned in other videos. But this one had some additional information that I've never seen before. So I thought it'd be really good and very practical information. So I thought it would be good to share that. So the topic of this one is, it's about an ideation or a kind of visualization or a thought that you can hold while you are meditating, but which is also very valuable to hold when you're not meditating, when you're doing all the things of your life, right? So I would like to say a few words giving the philosophical context of this before we start to make it a little bit easier for some people to understand. So there's an idea in our philosophy that the universe is the internal imagined object of the divine consciousness. The divine consciousness is absolute, total, whatever is part of that. And as there can be nothing outside the divine consciousness because it is something absolute, whatever exists must exist within inside that. And the universe is seen as an internal creation of the divine imagination. And you and I, being part of that universe, are also the internal imagined creations of that divine consciousness. So the divine consciousness, which is imagining, if you imagine something in your mind, you are the subject, and the thing that you imagine is your object of imagination. So similarly, if the universe and you and me are the internal objects of divine imagination, then the divine consciousness, the absolute, is the subject, and everything else is its internal object. So keep that idea in mind, and it will help you understand the meaning of the discourse. In the absolute sense, the supreme consciousness is the supreme controller of everything, the supreme subjectivity, with human beings as his object. Usually, human beings cannot make the supreme consciousness their mental object. Therefore, when you repeat your mantra or when you ideate, visualize, you should remember that, in fact, you are the object and the supreme consciousness is the subject. That is, in meditation, you do not see the supreme consciousness, but the supreme consciousness sees you. The actual idea in your mind should be that the supreme consciousness has kept a close watch over you in the past, is keeping a close watch over you now, and will keep a close watch over you in the future. Under no circumstances are you alone or neglected. As long as you remember that the Supreme Consciousness is watching. No power in this universe can oppose or harm you. Moreover, each and every entity, from the Supreme Creator of the universe to a single blade of grass, will cooperate fully with you. So that's the discourse. Let's go back and look at some of the parts of it. So the first sentence, usually human beings cannot make the Supreme Consciousness their mental object. Why? Means when I meditate, I think of the Supreme Consciousness, so it's my object. But the fact is that my mind is something finite, and the Supreme Consciousness is something absolute and infinite. And it is virtually, well, not virtually, it is impossible for a finite, limited, tiny mind to take something infinite and absolute as its object. It simply can't be done. So, for example, let's say, I have a rabbit in my mind, and that rabbit wants to take me as its object. It's kind of just doesn't go that way. I'm the subject. I'm imagining the rabbit. The rabbit wouldn't have any chance to wrap its mind around the total concept of me, its subject. Right? So that's why we have this difficulty. Although when we have to think of something, we make it our object, but in a sense that's impossible when you're looking at your subject. So then, how to get around this problem, because we still have to meditate, right? So the idea is that when you repeat your mantra, just take the idea that you are being witnessed. The Supreme Consciousness is witnessing you. And the interesting thing that is different that I found in this discourse from the many other times that Sri Anandamurti talks about this idea is that he gives kind of the actual wording. He describes exactly how you are supposed to think of this. So it says, the actual idea in your mind should be that Paramapurusha has kept a close watch over you in the past, is keeping a close watch over you now, and will keep a close watch over you in the future. So there you are. This is exactly clear instructions about how you are to practice this. And just some little subtle things about the language. So it doesn't say that the Supreme Consciousness was watching you in the past. It says the Supreme Consciousness has kept a close watch over you. And that gives a little bit different feeling in English. So watching over someone means kind of like caring for them, like a mother watches over her child. She's not just watching like a spectator, she's watching over her child to make sure that it doesn't get into any problems, right? Or it's that her child is safe. And that's the feeling that you get from these words. So you take that, that the Supreme Consciousness is watching over you in a kind of more embracing feeling, like taking care of you. The other day I saw a YouTube video about a mother rescuing her baby from a bear. And she had been watching her baby playing in the garden, and then suddenly this bear appeared. And the baby thought it was like a teddy bear and just opened up its arms and went running towards the bear. And the mother just ran, picked up the baby, grabbed the baby and brought it inside the house. So that kind of watching over, kind of like a parent, a loving parent, making sure, seeing what we need and keeping us out of danger, but giving us experiences that we need, sometimes painful experiences also, to learn and to grow. It also says that it emphasizes that you should think not just that the Supreme Consciousness is watching over me, but was watching over me in the past, is watching over me now, and will watch over me in the future. And that gives this sense of permanence and eternity, a feeling of a permanent source of support. It's always there. It's never not going to be there. And we notice again with children that when the mother is close by, they feel kind of confident to play free of worries. But if they notice that the mother is not there, suddenly that confidence disappears. And the implication is that, this is the only type of support that is always there, has been in all your past lives, is so in this life, and will be in all future lives. So it's something permanent. And whenever we think about something eternal and timeless, it somehow stimulates an awareness of our own timelessness. So this personality, this body will die and pass away, but I have lived many other lives, and there is something in me which is timeless, and this language speaks to your timeless self as well. And then it says, under no circumstances are you alone or neglected. As long as you remember that the Supreme Consciousness is watching, no power in this universe can oppose or harm you. So that is really kind of like a secret of success. Imagine if you had some practice that you could do that, if as long as you remembered to practice it, no power in the universe could oppose or harm you. Wow, that's what could be more powerful than that? And the reason, why would that be the case? If we forget that the Supreme Consciousness is watching over us, then we become isolated, and we come back and we are working from the viewpoint of our small ego. Now, nobody is obligated to cooperate with your small ego. They will if they feel like it. They won't if they don't. On the other hand, everything in the universe is obligated to cooperate with the Supreme Consciousness who is controlling the entire show. And when you remember and remind yourself that the Supreme Consciousness is watching and controlling everything and is the subject, it helps your little ego get out of the way and allow whatever you are doing to be coming from the Supreme Consciousness rather than coming from your ego. And I think that's the secret of, if you can remember this constantly, not operate from your little ego and operate instead in a surrendered way using the energy of the Supreme Consciousness, then everything will cooperate with you. Nothing will oppose you. Now, I wish that was what was happening every day in my own life, but it's not. Clearly, I have some conflicts with people. And so that's just a reminder to me that why am I having those conflicts? Because I have forgotten to remember that the Supreme Consciousness is doing everything. So that's the idea. And like all of these meditational thoughts and auto-suggestions that I have been sharing with you. It is something which is that if you want to get the benefit of it, just hearing it once isn't going to do the trick. It's something that you'll have to think about, remember, try it out for weeks, months, maybe years, and then little by little, as it becomes part of your daily kind of awareness, as it becomes kind of established in your awareness, then you will realize the power of it. So I think this one is very beautiful and very powerful, and certainly worth making an effort to include that in both in your meditation practice and in your day-to-day awareness and mindfulness. So that's it for today. I hope you find that useful. Thanks for watching. Namaskar.